Welcome back to Bold of You to Say. We're back with another episode.
Back to Bold of You to Say. We have some warmth.
Yeah,
we come bearing warmth.
If there is heat, you best believe we brought it. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Heat is just concentration of warmth.
I'll start off by saying this. We bring the heat, and that heat, by God, as a red-blooded American, I am going to tell you that heat is generated by a gas stove. And nothing will. And when I am president, we will have only gas stoves. Electric stoves will be outlawed.
You know, Alex is tired because he's not playing the national anthem on his soundboard.
I just don't want to. I don't want to clash with the opening theme music.
I thought you were just skipping like a record there for a second, and I was like, "Fuck."
No, it's like a record player. You just got to bump it a little bit. I just had to get knocked. I had to bonk my noggin.
Oh, look at those trees.
Look at those trees. Anyway, we talked about Steven Crowder. He started beef with the Daily Wire. We still don't really know why at the end of the day. But he was offered an incredibly advantageous contract, and he threw it in the face of the Daily Wire. Some new culture war issues just dropped.
I just want to eat chocolate, man. I just want to eat fucking chocolate.
Tucker Carlson is gay for M&Ms. More on that later. I don't
need to be sexually active to eat M&Ms.
Well, I do. So... Anyway, we watched Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1 this week. Incredibly horny. The most horny movie so far out of this very horny franchise. There are timestamps in the description, so you can skip around if you want to skip a certain part, or if you just can't wait to get to a certain part. It's all listed out. Use it if you want, or don't. We can't make you do anything, really.
No, I got nothing. I can't.
Yeah, whatever.
What do I... Look at those trees.
So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to.
So, do you want to start off with the culture war special, or do you want to talk about the Steven Crowder thing?
Let's just do the Steven Crowder thing. Get that knocked out.
Yeah, let's get
out
that
of the way.
The hell out of the way. So,
let me mention too, any news about Steven Crowder that we mentioned on the show is literally just us getting it out of the way.
Yeah.
Any news about Steven Crowder is just getting it out of the way.
No, yeah, I don't like when he occupies space in my mind. I think it's one of the less good things that I deal with.
If you measure the volume of things in your mind by their importance, it means that anything that Steven Crowder says is actually introducing a vacuum into your brain.
Yeah, no, that is true.
Right, so...
Yeah, so anyway, the new thing that he's... I don't know if I'd say in trouble for, but it's kind of getting him a lot of attention, is he put out a video it was like, I don't have it in front of me, but it was something dramatic, like, it's like, we're done, it's done, some dramatic ass, oh, this thing is bad, ... fucking whatever, like trying to make it look like it's this, like, important thing. Anyway, so what had happened was he put out a video initially not saying who the contract was with, but it was about a contract that he didn't like, it was a business deal that he was offered, and all that we knew at first was that it was with a big conservative media conglomerate. People were speculating that it was either going to be the Daily Wire or PragerU.
Right.
But yeah, so he didn't say who it was or what the amount of money was. He was just complaining, basically, that, it was so, like, like they were just taking advantage of him. Like he's this victim in this situation, and they're taking advantage of him because, there were provisions in the contract that were like, hey, if you get demonetized, we're going to pay you less money which is the important
Well,
thing.
and it's not like they were going to pay him $50 million,
Yeah, no, it's not like that. As far as we know at this point in the story.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, then the company that it was with responded. It ended up being the Daily Wire, which, yeah, everyone knew. But they put out a video with their, like, he's like the guy that runs it that isn't Ben Shapiro. He made a video that was basically like, and I'm not going to go too much into the details. I just want to give an overview of it. But he basically went over point by point how Steven Crowder was just lying. He was either lying or stupid in this situation, because he was saying, he said specifically like, oh yeah, if I get, run over by a car, or for whatever reason I'm unable to do the show, they're still going to cut my fee by whatever. Let's just go with 25%. That's the percentage if you get demonetized. There's a different percentage that you get knocked down if you like just don't put the show out.
Oh, but he gets healthcare.
Well, he was saying if he physically cannot do the show, then they're going to cut my fee by, so much. And the Daily Wire guy responds and points out I don't know if he does it in that video, but I saw it pointed out that there is a specific provision in the contract that says if you are physically unable to do the job, then we're not going to dock you the normal amount. Like, we're just going to take it case by case, and we're unable to pay you the full amount because it is at the end of the day a business arrangement.
Right.
But they're not going to punish you for just getting sick or being injured.
They're not going to be like any other job.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's kind of the crux of it. That Steven Crowder is complaining from his ivory tower that he's being taken advantage of, and I'm
gonna say it. Justice for Steven Crowder.
Yeah. Guys, can we get a collection going?
Guys, come on, let's really bring the bedpan out, and
can we raise $12.5 million per year?
Right.
That's a $50 million contract over 4 years. And he's complaining from his ivory tower, like, not necessarily that it's not enough money, but he's complaining that they will reduce the fee under a certain set of circumstances. And yeah, you kind of touched on, like, he's really out of touch. He's just so vastly out of touch that he thinks that this is like a raw deal for him.
It's almost the equivalent of like when you're on Tinder and someone's like, don't lowball me. I know what I'm worth.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right.
Yeah. No, you should know what you're worth. You should be aggressive in negotiations if you're negotiating like your salary or anything like that.
Exactly.
But
it shouldn't be taboo. It shouldn't be taboo to ask your coworkers what their salary is.
No, that is true.
That shouldn't be taboo. Like that, because what we think they'll say is like, oh my God, why do you get paid more than I do? That's awful. You shouldn't get paid as much as I do. Or what they'll actually do is they'll be like, we don't get paid the same. I need to talk to my boss and see why we don't get paid the same. Right.
Yeah, no, that is true. Also, yeah, it's usually, oh man, we're both getting screwed. Or it's like, well, they the whole reason that they tell you not to talk about your salary, like they don't really tell you, but the reason is they just don't want you to know how much you're getting screwed over. Because their whole incentive is to give you as little money for as much work as possible. And they're going to be able to get away with that to different degrees with different people. So yeah, be aggressive with negotiations, know your worth, assert yourself. But yeah, that's all to say. Yeah, that Steven Crowder got an amazing offer. And as the Daily Wire guy pointed out, it is, and by the way, can I, as a side little thing, before we get any further, I feel so weird taking the Daily Wire's side on any issue at all. But
like deciding between Hitler or Mussolini, and it's like, all right, I'll probably go with Mussolini.
Yeah, no, just because Steven Crowder is such like either like a moron or he's doing a weird grift, like because he's so like bad, he makes the Daily Wire look good in comparison in this instance. But yeah, as the Daily Wire guy pointed out, it's just a conversation starter. That was the start of what was supposed to be a series of negotiations. Candace Owens put out a video, flaming Steven Crowder for this. And she said that it took her like 5 months to negotiate her contract with the Daily Wire. So yeah, it was just supposed to be like the start. It was an initial offer, $50 million, 4 years with different provisions. And I wanted to point out, there's a 25% fee reduction. So for whatever span of time you're demonetized on YouTube or like other platforms, you're going to be given 25% less money if you lose 50% or more in revenue, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe like the math isn't that simple, but Crowder is still coming out on top, because if he was staying independent and he lost 50% or more of his revenue, he's just taking a loss. He's just taking the full risk of that. But if he's still getting up to like 75% of his money, like I don't. It seems to me like it's very simple that he's still coming out on top financially.
Like, let's put this into perspective though, because like, what's 50% of $50 million? It's $25 million.
Well, like, it's not if he lose that. So that 50% figure, that's whatever amount of money he's bringing in, and I don't know. I don't know what his financial figures are. I don't know if he is bringing in $50 million over, the span of 4 years, just operating the show through like ad revenue. And well, I guess he doesn't make ad revenue because I believe he's just permanently demonetized on YouTube because he does like full on out and out racism.
Right.
But yeah, that's all to say that 50% figure, that's if he loses 50% or more of his revenue that he is bringing in. That's separate from the money he's getting from the contract. So
I see.
That's money that would be coming in anyway. That's just going to the Daily Wire now.
Okay.
So that, as of now, like the way he's operating now, being like just a free agent, that's the money he's getting. Now, if he loses 50% or more of that, that's just him losing 50% or more of his revenue.
Right.
So if he signs that contract, setting aside anything that he would get through negotiations, if he loses 25% of whatever money he's making for that span of time with the Daily Wire, like that's a sweet deal.
Yeah.
Like, what the penalty for demonetization is when you're operating independently on YouTube?
You lose all your revenue.
You lose all of your revenue when you're demonetized. So if I was operating like a lucrative media venture, yeah, I'd want to keep 75% of my revenue as opposed to losing all of it.
Right.
And yeah, I wanted to make 2 points with this. One, haha, Steven Crowder, what an idiot and or grifter. Because, conservatives, I've noticed this. They love to go like full Marxist. Like Steven Crowder said that he didn't want to be a wage slave by signing on with the Daily Wire, either ignoring or not realizing that most people are, wage slaves, if you want to use that kind of language.
I mean, this is all I have to say about it. Steven Crowder, more like Steven Powder.
Yeah. So,
I don't use the term master comedian often, but that one, ooh.
Right. Well, yeah, he says that he loves capitalism so much, but he's like flaming the Daily Wire for these provisions in his contract that are just designed to make it so they're not taking too much of a loss when he gets demonetized or loses sponsors or whatever. Because Steven Crowder, even for being a right-wing media figure, is very hard to monetize on platforms. Because he just keeps doing racism. He keeps doing
and stupid. He keeps on doing racism and stupid. I remember hearing an excerpt from him from 2017, I think it was, where he was just like, "Yeah, let's just defund NASA to build the wall."
Jesus.
And I'm like, that's
First of
That
all,
is
do you know how little
just
money NASA
stupid.
gets in comparison to our budget as a
Right.
nation?
Exactly.
There are bigger fish to go after.
Right.
You could take like 1% of the military budget, and that would probably be more than what NASA has in their
Or just
budget.
tax the billionaires more.
Or tax the billionaires more, yeah. But yeah, you know, it's they love to go on about how awesome capitalism is, but when the Daily Wire puts in provisions in this, again, proposal, this proposed contract, that he doesn't have to accept the offer, you know, he hates it. He goes full Marxist, and he's like, this company is trying to take advantage of me. They're trying to steal my surplus labor value, which again, side note, I question whether he makes enough money for this to like not be a loss on the Daily Wire's end. You know what I mean? Like, I do not know if he brings in $12.5 million of revenue every year.
Yeah.
I fully believe, and this is my second point, I fully believe the Daily Wire is not trying to sign on Steven Crowder to make money off of him, because I really don't think he is profitable to have under your umbrella. But I do believe it's ideologically driven, because the Daily Wire and PragerU and these other like Turning Point USA.
Oh, by the way, PragerU, not a real university.
Not
they just
a real
call themselves
university.
that to make people think that they're a university.
Yeah, that's like stolen valor, but for academia.
It's like if I was like, yeah, I have a doctorate.
Yeah, it's like, is there a doctor on this plane? Yeah, I have a doctorate in computer science.
Well, it's like, no, well, I mean, doctorate is actually, what's it called when you have different words that mesh together into one?
Well, like
thing.
a portmanteau.
Like NASA, for instance.
Oh, an acronym.
An acronym. Yeah, it's just an acronym.
Yeah. Yeah, not a real university, but yeah, so these right-wing media ventures like the Daily Wire, Turning Point USA, PragerU, so on, they're not really, they don't come up organically. They don't just come into existence. They're propped up and continually funded by think tanks funded by right-wing billionaires.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even a controversial thing to say anymore. That's just like, I think even most like average like political nerds know. Like, if you are at all into politics, like, I think you've probably heard that these places are just funded by, you know, shady dark money.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I don't listen to them.
yeah.
Like, there's nothing of value that PragerU has to give me. And now whenever I see a PragerU video, I'm like, no.
Yeah. No. I fully believe that the Daily Wire is trying to sign them on just because they want to make sure that they can continue making the world a worse place.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of the main, you know, takeaway that I want to give to people. If I have any platform at all, I want to be able to make it a little bit more known that the Daily Wire does not exist on its own revenue that it brings in. It does not exist organically. It is just funded by oil barons, basically, and
right,
and these robber barons. I think we should bring back the term robber baron, by the way.
What's that?
You know, like captains of industry, like how that's like an old timey way of saying like, this guy is a real good business. Yeah, robber baron is like
Elon Musk.
Yeah, whatever. It's like an old timey, like, I think like pre-Great Depression, like Industrial Revolution era term,
right,
for basically just like a Jeff Bezos, just like a guy that has gotten to where he is by exploiting. That's the word I was trying to think of earlier. Exploiting workers. Yeah, Steven Crowder is trying to say that he's being exploited by this contract, which he is not. Yeah, right. I just cannot get over $50 million over 4 years for fucking nothing. Yeah, and I want to touch on that. I really do mean fucking nothing.
For literally nothing.
Because that show that he produces, it is so easy to do. They record it all live. It's all one take. They do all the camera cuts live. And it's just like a few hours of them riffing, not even being entertaining, talking about like how the left are groomers and Greta Thunberg is cringe or whatever. And like doing a Chris Tucker impression. That's all it is. And he's being offered 50. Let me just say right now, if we were offered $50 million to keep doing the same show, not make any changes, as far as I know, regarding this contract, they don't want to change anything about the show. If anything, they'll encourage him to be more racist, because he'll be on their platform and they don't have to worry about him like getting silenced on YouTube. They can just be like, hey, he's on Daily Wire Plus.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. If we got $50 million to keep doing that, exactly what
Dude,
we're doing.
if I got, like, I don't even know what I would probably donate most of it, just because I wouldn't know what to do with $50 million.
Yeah, that is a
Like, that's just
life-changing amount of money.
Like, that's just enough to like set up like a retirement thing. Like I would set up a retirement thing. It's probably enough to cover like my parents and my sister, and then at least for like a good couple of years for them to get like other life financial stuff figured out for the long term, and then like donate the rest. I don't know what I would do with $50 million.
Yeah. Now Steven Crowder, like, his show does have people running it. Like, he has like employees
and producers and stuff.
Yeah, but still, it's not that large of an operation. So still, $50 million. That's like a life-changing amount of money.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's complaining about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, back on the whole Daily Wire being propped up by billionaire money. I forgot. I also wanted to mention Daily Wire. They're like Daily Wire Plus streaming subscription service. That's all proprietary.
Right.
From what I hear, they have their own like back end infrastructure for video, which if you don't know is incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
That's why so many like, you know, smaller creators, like even like educational creators, will just upload on YouTube. Even if you have your own website, people will still upload videos to YouTube and just embed the link on their website, because it's so expensive to run a video backend. Like,
it's expensive to run a website in general.
Yeah,
like,
well,
like if it's like your like if I'm not talking like Weebly or like Squarespace.
Yeah,
I'm like talking like you find a software engineer and you have them make a server that can be a website.
Yeah. Well, yeah, websites in general are expensive to run, but it is like infinite. It's like exponentially more difficult and expensive to run video for your own website, like a proprietary video backend. Luke Lafreniere has talked about it on the WAN show. You know, just to plug them again, but he's like the lead developer on Floatplane, which is like the sort of like an offshoot of Linus Tech Tips. But yeah, they're building, or they have built their own video like streaming infrastructure. And he's talked about how it's incredibly expensive to run it. You have to have a lot of employees running it. It's just expensive to serve like high definition video. It's way more expensive if you're running like if you're hosting like 4K content. But yeah, that's all to say, yeah, you cannot have your own video back, and even if you have paying subscribers, like, you still got to have more money going into that.
Right.
And you can't do that off of YouTube
itself.
ad revenue alone, especially if you have a large staff like the Daily Wire does, and especially if you're offering $50 million contracts to people like Steven Crowder, who are definitely not bringing in that amount of money.
And at the crux of it, I just have to say, justice for Steven.
Yeah, again, guys, we're gonna have a Patreon link. I'm gonna set up a new Patreon, and it's gonna be in Steven Crowder's name, because, guys, he's hurting for money. That 50 million, that's not enough. Can we raise at least,
I guess you could
125 million?
Steven Crowder doesn't have enough chowder. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you know what the thing is? I don't know if it is like, it's hard to say what motivated him to put the Daily Wire on blast in the first place. Like, what made him what made him not want to take the deal, or at least negotiate on the deal? It's easy to say it's just because he's stupid, or because he's
Arrogant?
Trying to do a different grift, or arrogant. It's easy to say it's one of those, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was because he's just stupid and or arrogant or what.
Because he just is.
I hear he was already going to try to compete with the Daily Wire, like set up his own, conglomerate. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's because he's stupid. I just don't know.
I don't know either, man.
I don't know, man. Anyway, new culture war issues dropped. I don't want to spend too much time on them.
I don't know. So I listen. I was, driving my car one day and I saw this billboard, and it had this like green M&M that was like supposed to be a girl, but it wasn't feminine enough.
Too woke.
Green is a man color, and yet the male M&M is red.
Yeah, red, the color of Valentine's Day, famously a women's only holiday. As we all know.
Like, I'm just at this point, I'm just saying words because it holds no. I'm talking about morsels of chocolate.
That's why I say I don't want to spend too much time on it. The world is burning,
cares?
And people like Tucker Carlson, for the second year in a row, they're choosing the weirdest hills to die on.
I love the fact that the right is literally like actively about to put our entire country in financial turmoil. That is not just like, oh, oops, like small recession. No, like another Great Depression.
Yeah, conservative economists.
A catastrophic depression, and they're worried about the M&M colors.
Yeah, conservative economists are floating the idea of purposefully sparking a recession just to put workers back in their place. They don't even say that it'll help the economy. You ask them like, oh, is this going to or is it going to be better after that? And they're like, no, but it will hurt the poor.
Like, that's the thing though. It's not even like for anything. It's just so all they want is all this like all of this democratic legislation that the Biden administration pushed through repealed. That's kind of what they want, even if it's useful, even if it's like objectively good for their constituents.
Yeah.
They just don't like the fact that a Democrat's name is on it.
Yeah. Well, like they complain about inflation. By the way, before getting any further, they're not acting in good faith. They're demons and they hate you. But that being said, they complain about inflation.
Wait, they're not acting in good faith?
Yeah, I know. Very, very, very shocking.
What? I thought they were the Christians.
Yeah, no. They complain about inflation. Then they do not propose any solutions. And when you do propose a solution, they call it woke and then slap it down.
And then say that you're not masculine.
Yeah.
Or something.
And they somehow...
They call you a beta cuck.
Yeah, they somehow like work in manosphere talking points.
Like, I don't even know.
Yeah, no, they're focusing. Tucker Carlson has devoted airtime, primetime television minutes to complaining about the green M&M. So a year ago, actually just about exactly a year ago, he was complaining that they made the green M&M less sexy. We all saw it. They replaced her stilettos with flats, and he was like, "This is too woke. I want to have sex with the green M&M."
Alex, I'm gonna say it. I don't think anthropomorphized morsels of chocolate really do it for me.
Yeah, no, I never once
I
think the specific phrasing he used is he like wants to like have a drink with the green M&M. But yeah, he was like, I want to fuck the green M&M, and she's less appealing. The left will stop at nothing until all candy mascots are unappealing sexually. That was a year ago. And now he's complaining that there's a package of girl M&Ms. All the M&Ms on this package are girls. By the way, they're all chocolate. They're all flavored the same. It's just a different dye on the coating.
It's just shitty milk chocolate.
It's just little chocolate morsels. But the packaging has girl mascots on it. And they brought back the heels, I hear. I don't really pay attention to M&Ms, but I hear they brought back the heels. There's
really
like
strange.
a gay M&M. They're
It's
complaining that it's too woke.
They complain that that certain things have different ascribed genders, and it's like, okay, then why don't we make it just gender neutral? And they're like,
Too woke.
That's too woke.
It should all be men, but also the girl one should be sexy.
And then, like, if you made it sexy, they'd be like, they're trying to get children.
Groom the kids.
You're trying to groom the kids.
Yeah, it's almost like they're not acting in good faith.
It's almost like they're just trying to make anything up because they have literally nothing.
It's because they know that they do not win on economic issues, and even now they don't win on social issues anymore. So they just make up stuff to be mad about.
Well, I would say at least they don't have like an actual child predator as a part of their party.
Oops, that's most of the party.
Oh shit.
That is a strong percentage of elected Republicans, and like the media
too?
people.
Like even some of Trump's like staff people like actively try to stay away from Matt Gaetz and keep their family away from Matt Gaetz.
Dude, did you hear about all the stuff going on with Matt Walsh?
Who dat?
What is a woman guy? The guy that goes to school board meetings where he does not have children. He's too woke. He's a big media guy. We've talked about him before.
All right.
But an old clip of him resurfaced.
I think I get a lot of his ads because YouTube is like, like, here's a bunch of conservative bullshit.
Yeah. Remember talking about that? I told you about that documentary, What is a Woman, where he talks to people and then he's like, what's a woman? And then they explain. And then he's like, too long, didn't listen.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, an old clip of him resurfaced talking about how teen pregnancy is good actually because you're most fertile at like 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question. Okay.
And he's saying that it's good when women get married younger, as opposed to older. And and teen pregnancy
he's projecting again.
Is good actually.
He's projecting again
because you're more fertile when you're like 15 or 16.
Oh, how about this? Just have kids if you want to have kids.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of them call themselves libertarians too, which is so ironic. Like Ben Shapiro claims to be libertarian. Yeah, what a moron. Anyway, so yeah, but the M&Ms thing, yeah, you pointed out. Yeah, they think it's too woke when they are women, and they think it's too woke when they're not sexy. So the only conclusion that I can draw is that at least when it comes to M&Ms, Tucker Carlson is gay.
I don't...
Because they have to be men,
don't even know.
But they have to be sexy. So put the yellow M&M in some stilettos, and then I talked to you about this on the phone. I think Mars should double down. I think the Mars company...
I'm think of like words to describe Tucker Carlson besides a fucking hack.
Yeah, no, he's a hack.
He's just a hack. Like
outside of his ideology, he is a hack.
There was this like one Swedish millionaire who was just like, the issue with American like finances isn't that like the poor aren't working enough and work ethic isn't like good enough or whatever. It's because billionaires aren't paying, like people aren't paying taxes. People who have money aren't paying taxes. And he like fully, he basically told Tucker Carlson, I think, like verbatim, he was like, you're a millionaire supported by billionaires.
Yeah.
Right? And
dude,
then Tucker...
I cannot stress enough, he is the heir to the Swanson fortune.
Yeah. Yeah. Tyson, though.
It's
Swanson.
Tyson
chicken. Yeah.
It's the Swanson company. He like married into it, into the family.
And Tucker got so triggered by that comment that he actually had them like stop recording the bit,
Jesus.
Like the show.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, you know what, you fucking asshole? He's like, you know what, you pompous motherfucker?
So did the other guy record it on his end then? Because like
I think so. It was like recorded somehow.
I think I've seen what you're talking about.
It was really funny because you see Tucker go from like I want to be fair on both sides to the shit's not working my way.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing about Tucker Carlson is he tries so hard to LARP as like a blue collar dude when he's just the farthest thing from it. Like, he takes like staged photographs in like a log cabin wearing like a flannel shirt and jeans.
Mhm.
He tries
He's
to make
like
it
the
look like
epitome-
he tries to make
he's the
himself look like a lumberjack, even though he has never worked a day in his life.
No, he's like the epitome of country music stars, except
yeah.
he doesn't even do the country music bit.
Right. Yeah, he is in every way except musically. He is a stadium country performer.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But yeah, I pitched this idea to you over the phone, and I want to see what the listeners think. What I think the Mars company should do is they should double down on all this like representation stuff. First of all, they should permanently change the name of the candy to M&Ms. And if you're caught dead naming them, if you are caught saying M&Ms, even if you're talking
Straight
about the
to the
rapper,
gulag.
even if you're
Straight to
talking about the
gulag.
rapper, they will sue you, and you will owe $1,000 to the nearest woman.
Like, even if you sneeze while saying the name. Like,
Yeah, if you're like,
even if it's like
chew
an
M&Ms.
involuntary, like, if you're trying to be like, right? Like,
Yeah, no, you cannot
$1,000.
besmirch the name M&M or Feminems, excuse
Right.
me. And
uh-oh.
oh shit, I
Oh,
owe
Alex.
Haley $1,000.
Oh,
At least we're
man.
keeping it in house. So
At least it's the same money.
I'm just gonna have to keep her with me at all times, so I don't owe
Right.
$1,000 to like a stranger.
Right.
So anyway, they should change the name to Feminems, and all of the packaging should just be like sexy green M&M pinup art.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it should say, like, as if the green M&M herself like signed it for him. It should say, "This is for you, Tucker, signed the green M&M." And she'll be wearing her stilettos. The heels will be even bigger. Okay, it's instead of a 6-inch heel, it's a 9-inch. It's a foot-long heel.
Fuck it. We just strapped some like foot straps onto a skyscraper,
she's
and
wearing
that's what she's
stilts.
wearing.
Yeah.
She's wearing stilts.
Yeah, and it'll say, "This is for you, Tucker," and she'll be winking at the camera.
Right.
And I think it should be anatomically correct. I think if they're going to anthropomorphize these candies, they should go a step further, give them human genitals. Make it like a Playboy centerfold and have it say, "This is for you, Tucker.
About this
This
in, like,
is
a
what
real
you
light.
wanted."
Like, I keep on thinking about this if this really happened, and I would be like, I just want to eat chocolate, man. I don't want to see.
I think
really
the Feminem name change should be permanent, just because it would trigger the conservatives so much.
Right.
But I understand, if you don't want to run the pinup thing forever, let's just say like a month, okay? At least give me time to collect, to give myself a nice collection of M&M pinup art. But yeah,
I mean, you can just Rule 34 that shit, Alex.
Actually, hold on. I am live on the air.
I should not have said that.
I'm going to Rule 34. I'm just gonna see what kind of green M&M art there is. Green. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how to like type it to make green M&M come up, because like the site that I'm on, you have to type in like word _ word, like no like spaces. So like I do not know how to format this. Anyway, if you have any good green M&M pinup art, send it in. Join the Discord, link in description. Send it whatever channel you want. I don't care. Just actually,
Gavin's retinas be damned, I guess.
We have a public server, so I think I need to make a specific NSFW channel.
Fuck, dude.
If you want to just DM it to Gavin, join the Discord server, send Gavin a friend request, DM him the green M&M pinup art. He'll forward it to me.
I'm so happy I don't have much social media.
Yeah. But yeah, write in with your thoughts. I want to know what the listeners think about my idea. I just think that would be so funny. Just anything to target Tucker Carlson in particular, and just have them tease him about being attracted to the green M&M. Because I think he deserves to be bullied more. And I think it would be really funny if a large corporation bullied Tucker Carlson.
But I actually want to get like under his skin. That's the thing.
I don't want it to make him upset. I want him to feel personally attacked.
I want it to be something that like isn't deadly, but is something he would be so like irked by that he wouldn't put it on air.
That's exactly what I think this is. Because it'll
like,
say this is for you, Tucker.
Would know.
He will know it's for him, but that's why I say it should be anatomically correct. So he can't like put the full uncensored thing on the air.
Right.
I want this so Mars, if you're listening, which I know you are, hit me up. You can have this one for free. Just send me some free prints of the art. That whatever art you use, I want like a poster size print. I want like a postcard sized one. I want one that I can fit into my wallet. Just send me like a variety. Maybe put it on a mug. Maybe do a limited mug. I like mugs. So anyway,
especially the green M&Ms mug, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. Anyway,
I just want to eat chocolate, man. That's
yeah. I don't want to. All I'll say about the gas stove, because that's another weird culture war thing that came up. Gas stoves. Some scientific government agency was like, hey, gas stoves are bad for us actually, and maybe we should start phasing them out and maybe regulate them.
It wasn't even like they were like, oh, this is like majorly detrimental. It's just like, yeah, I mean, if we're looking for something
it is actually very detrimental. I think it was like 13% of childhood asthma cases have been traced back to gas stoves.
Yeah, but it's not like 50. You know what I mean?
Well, like, I mean, that's still a significant number.
13% is a measurable amount. Yeah.
That's more than 1 in 10.
Right. Yeah.
That's 1 in 10 kids and some change.
Fuck them kids. The thing is, it's not even like they were like, yeah, let's shut that shit down. It was just, they're like, yeah, if we're looking for something that's the next thing, how about gas stoves?
Well, it's like leaded gas, how it's something that should have been phased out, and luckily it was. And like asbestos,
I mean,
that needed to be phased out, and then we phased it out.
There's a difference between leaded gas and gas stoves. That being that if you inhale lead gas fumes when you're a kid, you just become a boomer.
Yeah. Well, like leaded gas was traced back to like higher crime rates and just general worse health.
And self-centeredness and the general belief that any generation that comes after you is not only inferior but more lazy.
Makes you crash the economy.
Yeah, makes you want to invade countries for no good reason.
But yeah, gas stoves, like there's no reason to keep them if we have an alternative, which we do. We really should start phasing them out in favor of electric stoves. But we are so far into like the
infrastructure. Well, like the infrastructure's already there.
Well, the thing is, the infrastructure is there for electric stoves. You just plug them in, as far as I know. Like I'm not an installer, but they're just electric.
Yeah, I'm not like an electrician either, but like from what I know about like rural electrical grids, like they're not really ready for like every household in the city to have like an electric induction stove.
Sure, I don't know either way on that, but that's why it's like a phase. You phase them out and phase in electric stoves. Like you don't just do it all at once.
But also electric stoves are just generally better, like in just how they operate.
Yeah.
They're just generally more efficient and better. And why would you lean on something that's just like not only irrelevant but also like what's the word I'm looking for?
It's just worse.
Yeah. What's that word though? It starts with an I.
I don't know.
Not irrelevant, but it is. Never mind. I forgot the word.
We'll circle back to it when you remember what word you were going to say.
Right.
But yes. Right. So basically, what had happened was some research came out that was like, hey, gas stoves are worse for the environment. They're responsible for a significant portion of childhood asthma cases.
Oh, they can also make your house explode.
Yeah, they like
sometimes.
I cannot stress
if you're not
enough.
Careful about it.
No, yeah, gas stoves. I didn't grow up with a gas stove, so my lungs are amazing. So I didn't grow up with a gas stove. I grew up with just an electric stove. So I didn't know like how to use one until I was like a teenager.
Right.
But I was so surprised by how easily you could kill yourself with one of those.
Oh yeah, you just keep the gas on and you get sleepy.
Yeah. Well, like my roommate, I'm trying not to talk too loud, but my roommate once was cooking dinner and he turned on the burner, but he like didn't light it. So for a couple minutes, he just had the burner on with like the gas coming out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think Haley noticed it first, but she was like, bro, do you realize how like dangerous that is?
Yeah.
But yeah, just the fact that you could accidentally like
Just explode.
fill your house with
Yeah.
toxic gas.
Yeah.
And you have to, well, like if you keep it going, like even if you don't light it, it'll like kill your brain cells. And if you do, if you accidentally light it, or if you don't know that it's there and you like light a match or something, your house will just explode.
Yeah.
So you have to be like, you have to carefully turn off the burner without lighting it, and like open a window, get a fan going.
Oh God, what happened?
What are you saying? Anyway, I don't know how I will choose to edit that, but we had technical difficulties. Anyway, I was surprised by how easily you could just kill your entire family with a gas stove. So maybe we should phase them out just because of any one of the reasons that we've gone over, like childhood asthma individually. That's bad. If we could just not have 13% of the childhood asthma cases, like shit, that's life-changing for a lot of people. Also, the fact that you could kill your entire family with one, that's a good enough reason to phase them out on its own. But yeah, anyway, the reason that we're talking about it is because conservatives saw that like thing where it was like, hey, childhood asthma and gas stoves are bad. Maybe we should phase them out. Maybe we should ban them, consider banning them like over like a 10-year period. Just basically stop the sale of them. They acted like they wanted to like send in a SWAT team to take your gas stove at gunpoint. And now they're just coming up with after the fact like justifications for why they're getting so angry about gas stoves in particular. Like for some reason now every conservative thinks that they're Gordon Ramsay and they need a gas stove to cook properly. Right. My thing is with that, I don't know what difference it makes. If you're cooking something like in a pot, which you are, if you're making something on a stove, like in a pot or a pan, it's just heat. All that is affecting the food is the amount of heat. So why does it matter what's generating that heat?
I mean, let's be honest, like most working people just use a microwave anyway.
Yeah, or like an air fryer. Like very few things that I make anymore require using the stove. All I can think of right now is like mac and cheese, or if I want to like actually fry something. But yeah, most things I make, like either I'll microwave it if it's like a snack, or I'll make it in the air fryer or in the oven. But yeah, some like professional chefs now are saying that gas stoves just are better. Vaguely, I don't know. Just cause they are. And I don't really put a lot of stock in that, even when it is the professionals saying it, because there's a whole industry around wine tasting. And they make up stuff. They make up stuff like, oh, I can tell that this was grown in this vineyard and it was processed here. It's all bullshit. So I don't really buy people that have convinced themselves that gas stoves are better. Like I just don't, I don't buy into that.
But like, how is there different types of heat? That, you know?
Yeah, it's all heat. Now,
it's just,
I do understand, like, to put a little bit of nuance into it, grilling. I would prefer to grill a burger over a charcoal grill as opposed to just like cooking it on like my griddle, because like cooking with charcoal is just fundamentally different. It's not just the heat. It's also like the flavor in the smoke and
the carcinogens.
And the carcinogens. Yeah. You can taste the carbon. So like there's a debate around like charcoal grills versus propane grills. I understand that. Okay, I understand how that is a two-sided issue, and different people can have different opinions on it. But gas stoves,
I just eat it raw.
Yeah, well, yeah, I still follow Liver King. I still believe in Liver King.
I let the body do the cooking, you know.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But gas stoves versus electric stoves. I just do not. I firmly. This is the conclusion I've come to. Anyone that says there is a real difference in terms of how they cook between a gas stove and an electric stove, they're just lying or they're stupid. Or both. Unless
they're like an engineer or a like professional chef.
Well, even like I said earlier, even the professional ones, you could make the argument that they've just kind of placeboed their way into thinking that. Like, I'd have to hear a pretty solid argument for why they're different. But yeah, that's all to say. I don't want to talk about gas stoves.
If I could, like, what is there something drier we could talk about? Anything more dry than that?
One of the funnier things about it, and I had talked to you about this on the phone, is that Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, he like commissioned art. It was like, come and take it, and it's like a "Don't Tread on Me" flag with a gas stove on it. Meanwhile, Florida statistically has like one of the lower rates
stoves,
either the least or like close to it. The least amount of people that use gas stoves per capita.
Right.
Yeah.
But it has the highest population of people with hot air.
Anyway, Gavin, you want to touch on this debt ceiling thing?
Oh yeah. So here's the deal. So current, I'm just gonna call him interim House Speaker because it takes one person, Democrat or Republican, in the House to be like, "You're out, Kevin."
House Speaker asterisk. How about let's settle on this, quote unquote House Speaker.
The alleged House Speaker.
Yeah, I like that. Alleged.
The alleged House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy.
A person with alleged power.
A person with alleged power. We haven't seen him use it because if he tries, it's like I want to say that I was going to say the Schrodinger's cat of power. Like, if you use it,
he both has power and doesn't.
Because
on paper, he's the Speaker of the House, but anyone can just be like, I don't like this guy, and initiate a vote to get him out.
Right.
Also, I wanted to ask you about this because I read an article like a couple weeks ago, like when he first like made his deal. So I wanted to get your take on this. I read an article that, and I'm a little fuzzy on the details because it's been a while, but I read that to if you wanted to like propose more government spending, you had to cut an existing program. Just correct me if I'm wrong about any of the details.
I don't know what you might be referencing there, but I mean, that's just kind of like generally how we would like a budget. So let me just say one thing just to get this out of the way. Like, a government's main like goal in any fiscal year is to pass a fucking budget.
Right. Well, like,
that's their first thing, right? So like, in any budget, obviously you would want to have like checks and balances. So like, if you're going to spend money on one thing, or at least on a new thing, you would want to cut money for other things to afford that new thing. The issue is we don't. So we borrow money from other countries. And to do that, we run what's called a deficit, which means that we're spending more money than we take in through taxation.
Can I get to my question?
Yeah, sorry. I haven't heard of anything like that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll still, just for the sake of finishing my thought.
Just go for it.
In the article, from what I remember, so like the way it's been is Republicans were like, hey, if you want to pass anything that is expensive, you got to cut some spending in order to get more spending to pass. Basically, that's my understanding. But they changed it to you have to cut spending, but it's like a separate vote from whatever you're trying to spend the money on. So the way that I read it is that, like, let's say you want to spend more money on, like, I don't know, public transit. That means you have to first cut money from like Medicare, Medicaid, something like that. And then once you have cut that spending, then they will consider spending the money on whatever thing you're proposing, which I read as just they want to cut spending and then not vote for the additional spending.
Well, I mean, so it's like multi-pronged. So like, so they want to cut spending, but only for things that were passed by Democrats.
Right.
Right.
And things that will like help the poor.
Whether or not it works, right? It's like it's a Republican, I don't know what the term is, but a Republican chamber, right? That's like, doesn't really believe in anything except that the libs have to suck it.
Yeah.
And it's not a very effective way to run a Congress, if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, they like to claim that they're fiscally conservative, but they will vote for an overbloated military budget because they don't believe in anything.
Everyone does. That's the thing. Like everyone votes for an overbloated military budget.
But they're the ones that go on about like how bad the deficit is.
They go off about how bad the deficit is, despite the fact that over the Trump administration, they had no issue raising the debt ceiling because it was a Republican administration. And this was essentially, they're just trying to like push their agenda with an existential crisis.
What do you mean?
So if we don't raise the debt ceiling, we go into default on our loan. So we borrow money from other countries, right, to keep our budgets even. And when we do that, it's basically us saying to these countries, hey, we're going to pay you back what we borrowed from you with interest, right? And because of the strength of our economy, every country's like, yeah, we have every faith, all the faith that you can do that. Now, if we default on our loans, it means that we have found ourselves in a position that we cannot pay back the money we've borrowed with interest, right? And what that causes is kind of a tumultuous relationship with lenders and borrowers, right?
Yeah. Well, it like ruins the United States economic reputation.
Right? Which causes interest rates to go even further up.
Yeah.
Now the issue with that is the reason that our national debt isn't like an existential crisis is because our interest rates are well managed, right? It would just take some decent budgeting and less deficit spending for us to like manage it, but we in tax revenue make trillions of dollars a year.
Right.
Right? Just not $30 trillion a year, right? We could pay it back. It's feasible for us to pay it back within a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah. Also, if you're worried about the deficit, like just tax billionaires, but Republicans don't want to do that.
Right.
They would sooner let the world literally burn.
I mean, essentially, it would start with the United States, and because we're one of the main supporting pillars of the world economy, if we go down, everyone comes down with us, which is fucked. So essentially, they're just saying like, "Hey, Biden, all this good stuff that you did." Yeah, I mean, not even like I don't want to put like a name on it, like a grade on it, if you will. Just all the stuff that you've done, we want you to undo it, or else we're going to destroy the U.S. economy and blame you for it.
Yeah, that's fucked.
And it's not like when I say destroy, all like learned economists are saying that this would be an existential crisis for the United States if we defaulted on our loans.
Yeah, that's shit. If I could speak on behalf, I would say shit. Damn.
I would say shit too. Now, of course, I don't know what like the Democrats are kind of thinking. I think at this point they're just like, yeah, let the babies throw a tantrum.
Yeah,
let them. I mean, they could like a Democrat could be like, hey, Kevin, we don't like you, get out. But like they're just wanting. I guess the Democrats just kind of want to see them sink their own ship.
So the Republicans don't want to raise the debt ceiling, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
so raising the debt ceiling. So like in practice, like what does that mean when we raise the debt ceiling?
It allows us to take in more loans from other countries.
Okay.
Beyond what our current debt is. So like for instance, in one fiscal year, we'll say like, okay, we borrowed this much. we only have so much more that we can borrow, but our projections show that we will require more than that. So they raise what's called the debt ceiling, which means that the government's allowed to take in more debt.
Yeah, and it's not like we could just not borrow any more money.
No.
Yeah.
No, we couldn't. That would be so terribly awful.
Yeah. So like my understanding of the debt ceiling is they just have to raise every year. They have no choice really but to raise it. I kind of wonder why like they vote on it why isn't it just an automatic thing other than that's just the way that
it was for the longest time. It was for the longest time. It was just an automatic raise the debt ceiling.
Okay,
they would just make a projection for the next 10 years and just raise the debt ceiling accordingly. It was always something to do with administration. It wasn't like it was bureaucracy.
Yeah, it wasn't like a culture war issue.
No.
So when did that change then? Is that recent
when Kevin McCarthy became the House Speaker?
Well, I remember there being drama around the debt ceiling in recent years.
Well, here's the deal, really. So ever since this red wave became a red trickle, and Republicans haven't had the same amount of gravity that they've thought they would have, they're looking for anything to kind of cement any amount of power in a currently crumbling party without a real head. And to show kind of how powerless they are, it takes one member of Congress, Democrat or Republican, to get Kevin McCarthy to not be speaker anymore.
Yeah.
To do a vote of no confidence, and he's out. Or the American equivalent to vote of no confidence. That is what Kevin McCarthy gave away to become House Speaker. And they're at this point so weak in their ability to get anything done. They're willing to put an existential crisis before they're willing to put an existential crisis in the way of getting something done, anything done.
So do you think they'll actually do it?
I think they will. I think they will. I think they will because they don't actually believe in anything right now. They don't have any bearing on what to think.
Yeah.
And
so do you think the Democrats will just capitulate? Because they don't really have a choice. I guess my question is more, do you think they believe they'll go through with it?
I really hope Democratic, I really hope there's enough bipartisan support generally when the rubber hits the road or when the temperature kind of rises for people to be, at least on the right, be like, this is fucking crazy. We're not going to put the entire country in economic crisis. We need to raise debt ceiling. And of course, they'll have complete Democratic support. I just don't think it's going to be something that Kevin McCarthy will be happy with. He's trying to keep his whips in order. He's trying to whips are people that get everyone in the party and rank and file in line to vote a certain way so that they can have power.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. McCarthy is really he has a fine line to walk because he's trying to appeal to everyone in the party, but the party is so fractured ideologically.
Well, he needs literally every vote to pass anything.
Yeah.
So that you're speaking to the Matt Gaetz and the Marjorie Taylor Greens
exactly
of people, along with some of the Republican Party that are those people are fucking crazy. Why are they on the Oversight Committee?
Yeah.
By the way, Marjorie Taylor Greene is on the Congressional Oversight Committee.
Yeah, I will say, and I don't want to spend too much more time on it because we're recording a little bit late at night. So I want to.
And I'm recording without any sleep. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so I want to blaze through the rest of this, but one of my takeaways from this situation is first of all, shit.
Shit. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't want to say I respect it, but there's something to be said about fighting so hard for, in this case, a bad thing, but fighting so hard for something that you're willing to tank the world economy and the people that you're threatening know that you will do it. Like it's kind of like the rail strike thing, how it's not really about the strike itself, it's about the threat of the strike. And my criticism in that situation of the Biden administration was taking away any leverage the rail workers had. But yeah, I just wish that elected progressives had, and again, it's kind of nuclear, this situation, because it's like the world economy is on the line.
Well, and I wouldn't even say like it's not even that they're fighting; it's just sabotage.
Yeah, but the thing is, if they threaten that, and if everyone knows that they're crazy enough to go through with it, they're going to get what they want, because the other choice is the world ends.
Well, I mean, it's
but yeah, I just wish that like the elected progressives just had
the power that they don't have.
Well, that's
like, kind of like the situation.
A couple of years ago, when Nancy Pelosi was like, when they were like voting on the I think they were voting on like the House Speaker when the Democrats had the majority. Some people were saying that like the progressive wing of the party should like withhold their vote for Pelosi and say, we'll vote for you, but you have to do this, you have to give us this list of concessions. They ended up not going through with it. They just kind of ended up just kind of falling in line. But yeah, I wish that like people that are supposed to be like the furthest left members of the party would actually use the leverage that they have. So like,
which is what?
Well, like withholding their votes on certain things, like, you need a certain number of people to vote for you as speaker or else you aren't speaker. That's what we just went through with the whole McCarthy situation, like getting him to the position of speaker in the first place. Like the squad could just withhold their votes. I don't know what the numbers are. Like, I don't know if they would be able to.
Well, I mean, it's such a slim margin. That's the thing, right? So,
well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if they would have the numbers to just like not elect Pelosi as speaker. But like I just wish that they would use what leverage they have, if any at all.
Well, I mean, if they tried to use what leverage they had, still nothing would be able to get done because they don't hold a majority in Congress.
What do you mean?
Well, because the speaker is allowed to, or the speaker has the power to introduce whatever bills to the House floor, right? They're kind of like the gatekeeper of what bills get introduced, right? So I'm trying to think about this. I'm also running on like no sleep.
Yeah.
So
well, the thing is with this situation, it was a couple years ago. The Democrats had a majority, and they were just re-electing Pelosi as speaker. But there was some talk about withholding
here's
votes.
the deal. Kevin McCarthy will kind of do anything to hold on to power. Even Republicans who have like left the GOP have said that he's a power hungry asshole. And so he's dealing with such a slim margin of error, right? That, even if like 2 Republican House members vote against something, right, it doesn't get passed. So, a lot of those members are like, if the Democrats are voting for it, I'm against it.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously that doesn't work if you have such a slim majority. Even if you want to pass something as speaker that you think would be good for your constituents, because of course they're elected from a state, they're like any other representative, except they were elected Speaker of the House. If you have a fraction of your party that wants this to be a zero-sum game, you can't do anything, can't get anything done.
Okay. Yeah, what I'm talking about really is just like it's not even the same. What
I'm trying to say in that is that Democrats still don't have any leverage there. They have they're the minority party right now in the House of Representatives.
So I'm talking about a couple years ago. I'm talking about when they had a majority. I'm not talking about right now. I'm not talking.
Right.
Okay. I'm not talking about right now. I'm talking about when Pelosi was up for not re-election, but when they were basically just putting her back in as speaker. Like,
Mhm.
hey, we're doing this like formality vote. You're speaker.
Well, also they
again.
had different house rules for that
Yeah,
too.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know the minutia of the.
So essentially, it took like a handful of members of Congress to ask for the equivalent of a vote of no confidence to get Nancy Pelosi out. It only takes one member of Congress to get Kevin McCarthy out.
I understand that.
So there's that.
Gavin,
but also,
I don't want to get caught up like getting too much into the weeds. I'm just saying a couple years ago,
they had leverage, but they didn't use it. Is that like?
Yeah, the crux of the argument is like the progressive wing of the party wanted more so to like be accepted by the establishment, so they didn't want to rock the boat too much. So instead of doing what some people wanted and saying, hey, we're withholding our vote for you as speaker until you do this, list of concessions. I don't remember what exactly the concessions were, but basically what happened was they just chose to just say, hey, we support you no matter what. And that just kind of took away whatever leverage they did have in that situation. And my point that I wanted to make is I don't necessarily want them to threaten, tanking the world economy. But I just wish that, the supposed left wing, elected officials would use whatever leverage they have when they have it. That's really the point that I wanted to make on that.
And I'll just one more comment, short comment. Even if they did that, they would be a minority still. People who would be willing to vote for that would still be a minority. Sure,
but it's like when McCarthy got elected, he made the deal that he did because the people that were holding out their votes it was like, I don't know if it would be
literally Matt Gaetz. That was like it.
Yeah, he was like the last one that held on.
Right, but it was such a slim margin. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know like what the numbers were back when this was happening on the Democratic side, but McCarthy made the deal that he did with the MAGA wing of the party because he needed their votes just to keep the process going, just to keep our government going. So like on the Democratic side, the squad, like the Progressive Caucus could have done a similar thing. They could have said like, hey, if you want to be Speaker of the House still, do this list of concessions and we'll vote for you. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I'm not going to make any claims on the minutia of the rules and everything. I just wish they would use their leverage when they have leverage. Anyway, we watched a movie this week.
Oh, did we?
Oh, did we?
Oh.
Yeah. I ended up watching part 1 and part 2 back to back.
Nice.
And gotta say, I do not regret spending that 4 hours of my time. It really, more on this when we get to part 2, but it really does all come together as like Twilight Endgame.
Yeah, kind of. But it's like, so I like that the production value went up.
Yeah, no, I do like that.
It reminds me of that like 2010, 2012 chic kind of look. You remember that?
Yeah.
Those were the good old days.
Yeah.
I just I liked all the little things, like how the lady comes into the vampire castle place and they're like, oh, a human, as though they're not like also anatomically human.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We talked about this earlier. I think it's so funny when like creatures that just are humans talk about humans as if there's some separate entity with like an entirely different background and everything, when they were human to begin with, and they still are for all intents and purposes.
Right.
Yeah. No, this movie though, the whole series is horny, but I will say, the horniness ramps up in this one.
Oh, for sure. Okay. Is it weird that like, even though like it was pretty much softcore porn, let's like, yeah. Even then, I just did not want to see her naked. I just didn't. I was not interested. I was like, no, buddy, just put on a swimsuit. It's fine. You don't. He's not putting up any expectations. If anything, he's kind of a pushover. He's also kind of a piss baby. No, really, he really is. And also when she's like,
Can you explain?
You know-
Can you explain in a sentence what you mean?
that he's a piss baby.
Yeah.
He's just like, I hurt you, and she's like, it's cool, it was awesome, I had a great night.
Yeah, he's kind
Like,
of a peewee.
like actually, and he's like, no,
Yeah, there's like the
I'm
one part where
bruised.
where they're like going over all of like the hardcore hickeys she's gotten from that.
right. Yeah, I mean, they're just bruises.
Yeah.
It's not like she has a broken femur or something.
Yeah.
You know?
That kind of goes back to what we've been saying, that the Twilight vampires just are better than us. They run fast. They are like pretty much invulnerable except for when they aren't. They can live forever. They don't even have to. They don't have to drink human blood.
But it's just
And now
weird.
now we know they fuck hard.
Well, yeah, but like, Edward, if you don't want to like hurt her like physically, then don't fucking marry her. Like, that seems like an inevitability. You know, you picking up what I'm putting down.
Well, I kind of get it.
And
Look,
also, like, the whole wedding. Hold on, I'm not done yet. The whole wedding ceremony and the whole honeymoon, she looks like slightly miserable.
Well,
And she like
just,
looks at him when he's just like when he's just like, I hurt you, we can't do that, I hurt you, and she's like, why can't you see how absolutely happy I am? And I like audibly said, because you don't look happy.
I will
you look
say
miserable.
Yeah, speaking to that,
fucking miserable.
I did notice, and I pointed out when Haley and I were watching it, the opening narration just feels extra like I don't want to be here.
Right.
They say that adulthood is about putting your toys away or whatever, and
dude, I'm legally an adult. I still have lightsabers, motherfucker. Look at these turkeys.
It felt like
look at these turkeys. Look at these turkeys.
Look at these.
And also, I like to see it was fun to see the part, the official second where fucking Jacob becomes a pedophile. Fucking what?
Yeah.
Like,
How much of the because I'm trying not to talk about part 2 because I did watch it like immediately after.
Yeah,
but how much of the
I don't care.
How much of the imprinting stuff did we get in part 1? Because I don't want to I don't want to spoil.
He looks into the baby's eyes and then he sees like the entire life or something.
Okay.
I don't fucking know.
So we did get to that in part 1. Okay, yeah. I want to talk more about it later in part 2, but that whole side plot is
also this constant
very
like
troubling.
Like I don't get like what their deal is with not like accepting Bella's want to have the child.
I kind of get it because it will kill her,
but it doesn't.
Only
technically
because
she's undead, but like,
right. Well, it is like they just barely saved her life, so like I kind of get it. By the way, I wanted to point out, it feels like they're doing some not so subtle, slightly below the surface, like pro-life propaganda in this movie. When Alice is like,
it was her choice, though.
Well, listen, Alice is like, oh, the fetus will kill her. And then Rosalie is like, say baby. You know, like that. It felt very much like Stephanie Meyer, known Mormon, is looking into the camera saying, babe, these are unborn fetuses are babies and we shouldn't do abortion.
I just wanted the doctor dad dude to be like, technically it's a zygote, but
yeah.
What do I know? I've only been a doctor for 200 years.
Yeah. But dude, that whole pregnancy sequence, like that shit was visceral. I will say it was impressive. Like the visual effects, like making Kristen Stewart look that way.
I mean, good job for like 2012?
It was like 2011.
2011.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, good deal. Good job.
Yeah, they kind of do the same thing they did with Tony Stark in the beginning of Endgame, where they make him look all thin and frail.
Well, one thing I don't understand is why Jacob still thinks this is any of his fucking business.
Yeah. Can we do our regular checking in on Jacob segment, sub segment? So yeah, I would say he hit peak incel in Eclipse, but he did not get very much, less incelly.
Wait, so does this mean that he so if he's not actually in love with Bella, does that mean he technically imprinted on one of her eggs?
I was gonna say, I've been talking about this with Haley.
Which also means he imprinted on one of Jacob's, or one of fucking the other dude, the other vampire dude's sperm. Edward's sperm.
I wanted to say, I think he just imprinted on one of her eggs, and he could like sniff that one particular egg, and he was like, hey Bella, you want to go out? There's something about you that's so alluring.
Right. I just imagine because he has probably superhuman smell, so he probably smelled that she was like on her period, and was
he's like, is that the one? Is that the
No, and he just has like the Wings song by Paul McCartney, the song what is it? Something in the Way, or not Something in the Way, that's Nirvana. Fuck. Something in the way.
Yeah, that's it.
No, he just it's a Paul McCartney song I can't think of the name of, but it's very not.
He's simply having a wonderful Christmas time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's it. Let's go with that. Yeah,
sure.
But dude,
but also it's like none of his business, and all of his like family are like, dude, just let it go. Like, she is actively pregnant with your nemesis, your pseudo nemesis's child.
Yeah,
Nemesis's child.
There was one line that kind of encapsulated his general attitude towards Bella, where I think it's towards the end of the movie. He's like, well, think of it. Bella's like giving her thing about how she wants to like have the baby, and she doesn't care if it kills her, and she wants to go through with the pregnancy. And he's like,
technically what didn't kill her made her stronger.
That is true. That is very literally true.
Very literally true.
Very, yes. And Jacob's response is something along the lines of like, he was basically like, think of it from my perspective though. He was like, well, loving you and all this will all have been for nothing if that baby kills you.
It was already for nothing.
Well, yeah.
The value of that tanked.
First of all, that, yeah.
Remember when she like
it's her life, and it is her decision.
Him? Remember when she fully catfished him though?
Did she?
Remember that one? I think was the second one.
Yeah, no, she didn't catfish him. She did not set up a dating profile under a different name.
But she was just like I want to be with you.
Yeah, she did lead him on.
She didn't like mean it.
She led him on, but he did take it too far.
It's like, bro, just fucking have some dignity. Have some self-respect.
Yeah, no, honestly, he should have some respect for her and stop trying to like steal her. But beyond that, yeah, he should have some respect for himself.
Or
just move on,
Get a
dude.
therapist. Get a therapist.
Yeah.
Go on BetterHelp.
Yeah. Can I give you my theory for how I think Renesmee, by the way, dumb name, was conceived?
Sure, hit me.
This is a bit of Twilight headcanon on my part. I believe that when you become a vampire, I think it's generally accepted. Your body kind of stays the way it is. You don't really age anymore. You just kind of, you just stagnate, right? I believe that when you become a vampire, like your jizz stays alive indefinitely, but you only have the amount of jizz that you have in your body when you're turned.
That's some vintage 1920s jizz right there.
Yeah. So I think that was Edward's last living load.
That jizz still had trace amounts of radium in it.
that jizz has lead paint in it.
Back when it was seen as like a work like perk to get radium infused water.
Yeah. No, that's my Twilight headcanon. I think that like the only reason that vampires can't conceive, one, I don't think the woman vampires are like fertile anymore. But yeah, I think that all of the guy vampires that might have tried to conceive, they just kind of wasted their last living load. But Edward being like a hardcore like Christian ? what made him able, that was the one thing that made him able to conceive a child.
Wait, was he actually a virgin?
Yeah. He was like saved.
Oh.
That's been like his thing. He's been saving himself.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
that's
again,
that's
Twilight
his cross
was
to bear. I'm sorry.
again, Twilight was written by like a hardcore Mormon, and like it's been pointed out by other people before, but simultaneously,
isn't that kind of oxymoronic?
What do you mean?
Like, isn't that kind of sacrilege, though?
What?
Like, for a Mormon to write about vampires, because technically that's sacrilege.
I guess. Well, the thing is, Twilight both has a metaphor for saving yourself for marriage, and it also has literal, like, saving yourself for marriage. Like, the whole, like, Edward not wanting to turn Bella into a vampire is a metaphor for sex, but also they just want to have sex, and then they wait until marriage. So they do the metaphor and the thing that the metaphor is for. I love that.
All right.
Yeah.
Even though we all know they would have just fucked in the first movie, and then Edward would have been like, man, this wasn't really what I thought it would be, and then he would just leave.
Jesus. Yeah. This I've pointed it out before, but I feel like I can't go a Twilight episode without pointing out that Edward is a 109-year-old groomer. Or at this point, like 110, 111-year-old.
But,
groomer.
like,
He
as long as you don't
groomed
look
a
it.
minor.
Yes, right.
Yeah. And then Jacob follows in his footsteps. More on that in our next Twilight review.
Just, man, like, if this could get, like, it's just like watching a clown show, you know?
You know what?
Just, at this point, I've just learned to just be like, sure, she's pregnant with a vampire baby. Yeah, that's.
You know what I've missed
that's it. That's
in
what's
this
right
series?
now.
You know what I've missed?
Sure.
The human characters, like the Bella's classmates.
I really liked them at the fucking, like, I love the faux pas of the, just the bitchy high school girl that just has to be bitchy.
Yeah, I liked them at the wedding. I don't remember what they said, but they said something like, these weird people.
None of it was flattering, though. Like, none of it, like, literally, Bella's dad was like, yeah, I'm fine with this because I know how to use a gun and how to shoot people.
Yeah, well,
which would have been funnier than what he actually said because he was fucking serious. He was dead serious.
I just wish that Bella's classmates, like the human people, were around more in the later movies, because I feel like they really ground the series in a great way. Because like it gets kind of high concept, and it gets, especially in part 2, it gets kind of endgamey, and you get kind of lost in the sauce. And I feel like it really could benefit from just a normal person being like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Right.
I wish we could get like Anna Kendrick and company, like the Muppet characters, like the two old guys in the thing, and they're like, hey, this show sucks. I wish they could be that. I want that so bad.
Well, I liked how like one of Bella's friends was just like, is she showing a baby bump yet? And they're like, why are you even
that's what it was.
That?
That's what it was. I love it.
Right. And they're like, why? And she's just like, well, she's literally 19.
Yeah,
18,
they were like
19.
Why else would you get married at 18?
Right. And it's funny
in my experience, that's the case.
Well, no, it's funny because like it makes the whole dynamic of bad acting like make sense storyline wise, because if her parents don't know if she's pregnant or not, they just don't want to ask.
Yeah.
Right. And they're just like, she's just gonna get married. We're just gonna assume this isn't a shotgun wedding.
Yeah.
We're just going to assume that she's not pregnant right now.
Yeah, but if I was like one of the side characters, that would be my assumption. Nothing could convince me that it wasn't that, especially when they end up having a kid that like the pregnancy like is like speed ran.
Oh, dude, that Something tells me that the rent for that baby was just too high. You know what I mean? It just wanted out of there as fast as possible. It couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, back to how visceral the pregnancy thing was. The one thing that stands out to me, and like I see it coming every time, and every time I'm so grossed out by it. Not necessarily grossed out, but I'm like, ugh. When Bella like takes a step and her back like folds in on itself.
Yeah.
She like throws her back out. Dude, that's hard to watch.
I'm like, I see that and I'm like, you know what? You're pregnant with a vampire baby. What were you expecting?
Yeah.
What did you expect to happen?
At
this point, it's a medical deus ex machina. You know, anything can happen, I guess.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe she gets laser vision. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Vampires have laser vision now.
Well, yeah, a big plot point with the pregnancy is that they don't really know what to do because it happens so rarely. And so they have to do kind of like in the first movie when Bella finds out, or she's like suspicious about Edward being a vampire. She like does this whole Googling sequence. They do the same thing in this movie. Edward is like trying to look up information on what to do with this, you know, what to expect when you're expecting a vampire baby. Yeah. And the whole sequence, and a lot of movies, especially of this era, will do this. They'll have the Googling sequence just be like a montage of the guy Googling images and just like
with scary
scrolling
noises.
through images, with maybe reading noises. A couple words.
With scary noises.
Yeah, it's just like old paintings and illustrations.
I like to think that it's actually that he's freaked out about becoming a father because he's not actually ready. Because despite the fact that he's 109, he feels like a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
And he's looking for support groups, but it's like such a niche thing.
Well, you know what? That is what you say about them not being ready to be parents. That is incredibly accurate because not to get, you know, not to talk about
also,
part 2.
She's 19.
Not to talk about part 2, but the one thing that I will say about that is that everyone takes care of that baby except for Bella and Edward.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. But anyway, Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1, I would say best movie ever.
I love how we're supposed to review the movie and each time we're just like, yeah, best movie ever.
Best movie. I would say so.
It was fine. It was it's literally one of those movies that I just like click on, turn off my brain, don't think about it. Just
it's not good, but it's fun. And that's I value that more.
Even when the sex scene is like, I would rather not. You know, like why listen, I'm good.
Yeah, but you gotta.
I know Robert Pattinson is just kind of like, I'm doing this because I'm getting paid so much money.
You gotta understand. Don't think of it like, oh, you gotta watch this movie as a 20. What, you're 22, 23.
I'm turning 23 in like 2 months.
Yeah, as a nearly 23-year-old man in college with a beard watching this movie on his laptop. You got to put yourself in the shoes of like a middle school girl watching this in the theater after spending years waiting for them to do it. And then they finally do. Like you got to appreciate. You got to there's something to be said about that level of catharsis.
I just hate how like lukewarm like both of their receptions are to that.
Yeah.
Like he's all like, oh, I hurt you, and she's just like, I love it. I'm happy. Why can't you see how happy I am, even though I look sad all the time and miserable? Even though I married a vampire who will look 23 for his entire existence, I look like I've married a 109-year-old.
Yeah, hold on. I'm penning a message to Haley. I just invited her, if she wants, to speak to how it felt watching it for the first time, because she did follow the series as it was coming out. But yeah, like there is something to be said about how much of a cultural like cornerstone is that. It was a thing. It was a big thing.
Well,
it was a big thing.
I remember when it came out, and I was like, "Oh yeah."
She said, "Lamau, I'm good." But anyway,
I'm
Haley has talked about how like basically the series like was edging you up to this point, and then it, like as mid as the sex scene is now, like it was huge when it came out.
I don't like it's weird because like I don't even know what to fucking think.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that's what happened next.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's huge if you are an adolescent, but like if you've seen porn, like it's nothing.
I mean, yeah, but like also even with the characters, like it's like watching like a stale piece of toast fuck another stale piece of toast. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah.
all
no,
right,
that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's all to say. It's not really for us, but I appreciate it for what it
male
is.
23-year-olds, I don't think were the targeted audience for this movie.
Yeah. But yeah, I just want to express that, you know, if you are who this story is for, like it's great. It's a great movie. That's why I say best movie ever. Better than The Godfather, again, a movie I've not seen.
You know, there was that scene from this movie, and then when Tony Stark said, "I am Iron Man."
Yeah. By the way, update. Haley said, I appreciate the invite, but yes, it was hella cathartic.
All right.
So you heard it from the horse's mouth. Don't tell her I called her a horse.
Actually, I have her on the phone right now.
She will tell her I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I don't want to look like I'm weak.
Okay.
Anyway, best movie ever. You want to get to recommendations of the week?
100%. I'm so fucking tired.
Awesome. Looks like we just each have one. I could add more. Anyway, I've been reading the Deadpool run from 2012. It ran from 2012 to 2015. It's like 40 some issues.
Just to piss people off, I'm going to call Deadpool deceased. Fucking deceased. Never mind. I flopped on that one. Continue.
Yeah. No, the thing is, I like to formulate the bit before I say it, but I respect the way that you
words,
do it.
But like, I had them and then they went.
Yeah. Deceased puddle.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I'll give you that. The next one will cost you, but that one you can have. But anyway,
oh man.
Yeah, I've been texting you about this, like sending you like funny screenshots from it. Like the Ben Franklin stuff, that's from this run. And the first arc,
Deceased Jacuzzi, there it is.
Thank you. The first arc, the first 5-issue like story arc in the series is fun. It's pretty lighthearted. Basically, this sorcerer guy brings back all of the dead presidents of the United States, resurrects them. Their spirits are like corrupted, so they're evil. You know, like Abe Lincoln is evil, Ronald Reagan is himself, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's fun. It's just like a series of like sort of slapsticky kind of, you know, Deadpool killing the past presidents. It's fun. It's silly antics. But then when you get to later story arcs, like right now I'm reading through the original Sin story arc, it gets kind of dark and heavy, but I really appreciate it because I think the writers of the series, Jerry Dugan and what's his name? I was going to pull it up, but I don't want to. Anyway, the writers of the series, I think, strike a really good balance between like how silly Deadpool can be and how serious he can be. Because I think at least like the general perception of Deadpool is that he's just like kind of a one-dimensional like joke machine, and he just does gratuitous violence.
It's
and
just
jokes.
Ryan Reynolds.
Just Ryan Reynolds goofing off. And like,
I half expect Deadpool to start advertising for Mint Mobile.
Yeah. And like it's fine. Like adaptations that are like that are fine, I guess. But I really like the way that they handle him in this run. Cause like, yeah, he's silly, he's fun, but he can also be serious when he has to be. And right. I really appreciate that balance. And
yeah.
I wish that more popular Deadpool media would do that. Like I think the movies, I haven't seen the movies in a long time, but they kind of do a bit of like the dramatic stuff, but for the most part, he's just kind of like a wink and nod at the camera kind of guy, and he does pop culture references, and that's pretty much it. Like, that's the extent of it.
Right.
They don't really do like the deeper stuff. Like, honestly, like there's some fucked up stuff in like Deadpool's like past and in his lore and everything. And in this series, it's handled very well. Like, he has a daughter that he didn't know he had, that he thought was dead at one point, and it's like a whole thing. But I think it's handled very well because he's like serious when it comes to like, oh shit, this is my family, like this is my daughter, and I will protect her no matter what. You know, like he's still silly sometimes, and he'll crack jokes while doing gratuitous violence, but it's not like there's something deeper there, and I really appreciate that.
Is his daughter named Funeral Flood?
No.
Thank you. I'm here all night. Remember to tip your waiter.
It's Eleanor.
Oh.
Yeah, Ellie for short. There's no pun. There's no pun there. It's just
I'm trying.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, you got one?
I do. I think maybe. Hold on. Let me pull it up.
You do have one. I will.
No, I.
I will let you know you do have a recommendation of the week.
I've been addicted to the game. I've actually been taking out my new Nintendo. Oh God, did I record it? Audio was lost. Labeled location. Oh great.
Oh, is this going to be another one where I have to use the Discord audio?
I suppose so.
Shit.
All right. I don't know. Anyway, the Kirby's Dream Course. I've been taking out my new Nintendo, the 3DS, and I have that game on it, and it's a fun game, and I recommend it. It's good. It's a game, and it's fun. Sometimes it's just fun to take out a handheld and play it, you know?
Yeah. No, I like pulling out my 3DS
fun.
sometimes.
That's just fun.
Yeah.
Sorry, not so. Fight me.
Dude, there's some great games on old Nintendo handhelds.
Oh yeah, especially like the ones that are like retro games on a newer handheld, because Kirby's Epic Dream Course used to just be like I think on the SNES or something like that, and now it's just on this handheld that can do so much more, and it's kind of cool to see technology do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that's all I have to say on that.
Yeah. Well, like the Mario games, like New Super Mario, even like the 3DS one, New Super Mario Bros. 2, that's good, right?
It's all right.
But there's a special place in my heart for New Super Mario Brothers on the DS, like the old one from like 2006. I like that one. That's the one that I grew up with. It's always going to be my favorite Mario game.
Mm-hmm.
And like it just hits different. Like the old DS graphics, just like as someone that grew up with it, I'll say that there's just something charming about it.
It's just fun, dude. That's it.
Yeah,
that's all I got to say on it. It's just fun, bro.
Yeah, I do have one. I will not dwell on this. I just want to say I ordered a bulk package of bags and boards for my comics. I actually just spent some time yesterday bagging my old collection, making them look all shiny and new, in the new bags and boards. I bought the 100 count bag and board combo pack from BCW on Amazon. BCW makes a lot of like collectible, like packaging stuff, like packaging for collectibles. So, you know, like card sleeves, they do those. They make bins for comics, like, you know, like organizational bins. Good stuff. Right. I can't speak to the other products they have, but I bought the bags and boards from them. The modern / current size, and they're good. That's I don't really know enough about like the quality to like I don't know, like I'm not like a sommelier of bags and boards, but these are good. It's a good value. It's $20 for 100 bags and 100 boards. I will say, go if you are, you know, buying them for comics that came out in the last like 20 years, I think, maybe more. Get the current size, because I guess older comics from like the 60s on back had different sizes. There's like golden age size, silver age size. They have like different like dimensions, but yeah, the modern / current size, 6 7/8 inches by 10.5 inches. They'll fit current comics. I have a couple of issues, like one Iron Man, one Spider-Man from I think like the 70s or 80s, and they fit in this size. So yeah, anything recent, anything remotely recent will fit in those. But I will link that in the description.
I also have one more recommendation. Two more, but they're very brief.
Okay.
The first recommendation is a YouTube channel I've just been binge watching. It's called The Casual Criminalist. It's hosted by Simon Whistler, who also runs other YouTube channels like Biographics, Geographics, Warographics.
I know him from Today I Found Out.
Today I Found Out. He's just great. I love his personality. He has also a bunch of other like the YouTube channels like Brain Blaze and Business Blaze, where he just gets more of his funnies out, right? Like he's a funny guy in general, and the way that he articulates and talks about business and talks about just fun stuff. And he, especially with The Casual Criminalist, is really good at kind of weaving a narrative that's both like casually entertaining and sometimes like funny, while also being respectful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, Gavin, I just remembered we got to pick a movie for next week.
That's right. Hold on. One more recommendation. That is sleep. Sleep is good. Sleep is something you should get all night for 8 hours. And if you don't, you sound like me.
For a second, I thought that was the name of a YouTube channel.
No, just sleep. Just fucking
sleep well. Sweet dreams.
Just fucking take a melatonin and fucking sleep.
Dude, there is nothing better than taking a melatonin as it is prescribed an hour before bedtime. You know, give it time to actually work before
I wait like a good
down.
2 hours. I give it, I let it set in.
That's the thing about melatonin. Like, you don't take, like, I'm guilty of this, but you don't take it while you are going to, like, while you're laying in bed. Because that's too late. Like, it takes time to kick in. Take it, like, if you know you're going to go to bed at, like, 10, take one at 9, right? Give it time to work. You'll sleep so well.
Be well aware of what I call the melatonin pit, which is if you're taking, like, a relatively high dose of melatonin, usually around, like, 7 to 10 milligrams, your brain might stop producing as much melatonin naturally.
Yeah.
Which long term can makes not like necessarily a dependence, but like
I've heard that you can
like a
get,
habit,
like, sort of dependent on melatonin.
A little bit, but the good news is that it just takes a couple nights to kind of get over it before your brain is like, I need sleep.
Yeah.
Eventually it's going to catch up with you.
I will say it does make this is just what I've noticed. So, like, maybe it's like a placebo thing or whatever, but I have noticed that I am drowsier in the morning when I do take a melatonin at night.
Same.
So you might want to, like, give yourself more time to sleep.
Also, it's been known to worsen depression symptoms, which I personally have been subject to.
Shit.
So yeah.
I've been having weird dreams, and I don't know if it's because of, like,
that'll do
melatonin.
it. Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
I should just start,
especially with ADHD. Like, so it turns out if you this is common with people with ADHD. If you take melatonin at night, you have dreams where you can, like, actually critically think through the situations.
I have that. I seriously. Every time I find out something new about ADHD, I think even stronger that I probably have it. I just have not gotten around to, like, going to the doctor yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's the show.
That is it. That is.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of What Have You to Say. If you liked it, then like it.
Appreciate it.
And if you subscribe, then subscribe. And if you comment, better be nice.
You should do that.
You should compliment my haircut. I cut my hair the other day. Gavin can see it. None of the viewers can, but just say that it looks good anyway. I want compliments.
It looks good anyway.
Thank you. That's what I want. That's all. You know, that's what I pay you the big bucks for.
Oh wait, sorry, I didn't say
in
right.
a metaphorical
that
sense.
It looks good anyway.
Yeah. No. Look, that's all I can really ask for you to repeat back what I said verbatim. So anyway, leave a review on Podchaser or Spotify, on Apple, wherever you can if you want, as long as it's positive. Nice comments only. Follow me on social media. Don't follow Gavin anywhere. Don't do it.
Please don't.
It's unwise.
I'm too tired to lay out at you.
We don't have time.
This is the calm voice, Gavin. I'm not that interesting. I'm not worth it. If you do that, it's just a waste of electricity. Really, it is.
Like and subscribe and comment.
You should do that.
Share the show. Share it with a friend. Share it with tweet our episodes. Play the show out loud at work or school or wherever you are. Encourage people to listen. Or just play the show. They don't even have to listen. Just as long as they play it. That's what really counts in the end.
Yeah. Help us help you.
Yeah. Subscribe on Patreon. For $1 a month, you get episodes early. They come out on Fridays, but I get them done before Friday. So if you wanna. Yeah, it's more about supporting the show than actually getting anything valuable out of it. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah. Anyway, have a good 9 a.m. through 9 p.m. our official business hours. And let's go get the hell out of here.
Oh, I'm going to sleep.
Boy, did I sleep.
That's great.
I sleep.
I'm recording this call for quality assurance purposes, and also to add it on as an addendum to the
Turkeys.
Look at those turkeys.
Anyway, to the episode, you mean?
Yeah, to the episode.
Are we technically filming right now?
We are technically filming. Yeah, you're on the clock. We need to pick a movie. I also wanted to add on something that. So, like, remember when I mentioned there's like a congressional rule that was like, if you want to spend more money, you gotta, you gotta
look at those turkeys.
Look at those turkeys. So, do you know what pay-go and cut-go are?
I haven't heard of them yet, but I have a feeling you're going to inform me.
Okay, so pay-go is an old rule in the House that basically means if you want to propose legislation that increases spending on like entitlement programs or anything like that, you have to first raise like the revenue for that. Like you have to explain like, yeah, I'm going to raise this tax on this bracket or whatever. Basically, you have to show that you can pay for what you are proposing.
Yeah.
And that was referred to as pay-go. That was like the law of the land for a while, and then they changed it in the 112th Congress to cut-go, which is kind of the same thing, except instead of raising the money, you have to cut another program. So that's...
Yeah, well, you can see how that becomes a zero-sum game, right?
Yeah. I don't...
Like, we want to replace this one good thing with this one bad thing, or vice versa.
Yeah, I don't necessarily like either of them, but I definitely do not like cut-go.
Right.
Because
it doesn't have to come at the expense of something else.
Because it's like, yeah, we need... Like, if we're spending money on something, we probably need it, like...
Right. Yeah.
Just because we need more money for healthcare, that doesn't mean we should cut money from the post office. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like it. But anyway, that's what I was referencing.
I can hear our many listeners saying, "Wow, this political science major doesn't know pay-go and cut-go."
Yeah. Anyway, that's all to say. I do know things. Also,
no, that's cool that you. Well, actually, you didn't know them. You Googled it.
No, I knew about them. I just forgot the words for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Sure.
And I could not think of like the name of the concept while recording.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, whatever helps you sleep at night besides melatonin.
Yeah, no, me and my fragile ego.
Yeah.
God, movies. I'm trying to think of movies. Fucking. Let's watch the Emoji Movie. Fuck it.
Hey Gavin, is
Alex,
that
we're gonna
what
watch the Emoji Movie.
is that what you want?
Yes, that's what I want.
I don't like that you chose that.
Well, I didn't like that you chose Twilight.
You picked it first.
No, I didn't.
You did.
Alex, you do this. Alex, you do this all the time. You say that I picked it when really you picked it. I'm trying to gaslight you. Is it working?
You know what really helps when you're gaslighting someone?
Not say that you're trying to gaslight
when you explain
them.
that you are gaslighting them. All right, well, you heard it here first. Gavin is giving a big middle finger to me, himself, and you, the listener. But yeah, next week we're gonna, I guess.
Fine, Twilight breaking ground part 2.
Is that what you want? Is that your final answer?
Fine, sure, yeah.
All right. Breaking Dawn part 2 next week.
Wow. Okay. You
close
weren't
it
even
out.
going to be like. You weren't even going to be like. Really, if you really want to watch the Emoji Movie, we can.
No.
You just was like. You were just like.
You
okay,
gave
yeah,
me an
that
out. Did you think I wasn't going to take it?
I thought you would have courtesy, common courtesy.
Well, I thought the same thing. All right, Breaking Dawn part 2, no backsies next week.
Okay. Watch me watch like fucking the Emoji Movie and be like, yeah, we agreed on the Emoji Movie.
I mean, yeah, it wouldn't be the first time.
Like pull the Avatar thing out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.